Donald Trump says we don't have to worry about World War III anymore. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rachaha Kodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom Barakathum. And we're going to get a couple precepts. I haven't lined anything up, but I just came across the article. And we all know that that's some BS. Okay, whatever this guy says, it's basically opposite. Okay, these people are there to pacify you. They're showmen. Okay, they're look over here type of guys. Don't look over there kind of guys. You know, say one thing and then do the opposite. You know, that's what we got. All right. It says Donald Trump has said that nobody should worry about the threat of World War III during his presidency. Okay, but what he doesn't realize is that the Most High is in control, okay? All right, where is that in Isaiah 50? Is that Isaiah 54? Okay. I'm gonna start at let me see here. I'm gonna just go to the main point. Verse 16. It says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy." So Esau, that's your purpose, is for the destruction of various peoples across the world, man. Okay, it's to be an example. The Lord suffered the earth and the animals to be destroyed by you as well, even some of his own people, the apple of his eye, to be destroyed by you as well. But ultimately, you are a creation. Okay, you are a weapon. Okay, the scriptures say you are the rod of his anger. You go to Isaiah 10. Okay, verse 5, it says, "O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hands is mine indignation." So that's what you are. You are a weapon. Okay, you have no say on whether or not you go to World War III. Okay, you have no say. The Lord wanted you to create nukes. He had you to create nukes. Okay, if the Lord wanted you to have, fighter jets, then that's what you have. It's the will of the Lord. What does it say in Revelation 6, verse 4? It says, "And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth." So you were given power, and it was for a purpose, to take peace from the earth. Okay, what's the opposite of peace? War. Okay, and that's what your legacy has been here. It's been perpetual war, bloodshed, theft, okay, robbery, okay, abominable ideologies, hedonism, okay, greed, okay, unbalanced, unrighteous. All right, that's what you are. You're the opposite of peace, and that's why you were given that power, man. Okay, it says it was given unto you a sword to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. All right. So that's why the Lord gave you these weapons. That's why you have guns and bullets, okay, and tomahawk missiles and satellite infrared, various technologies to see things and scope things out and hunt. Okay. Why do you think the Lord let you get all of that, man? Okay. When you read Isaiah, the 14th chapter, the Lord already knew what you were going to be on. Okay. He knew that you would have a mind. I will be like the Most High, but then you were going to be swiftly be brought down. Okay. So that's what you are, man. You are a weapon. Okay. Of the Most High. That's your purpose. You don't have a say. Okay. But it says, in the article, it says he claims that he prevented the war between Ukraine and Russia from escalating into global confrontation. Okay, he declared that we don't need to worry anymore, as the world is no longer facing the prospect of conflicting, escalating into World War III. But see, he thinks he's in control. All right? As the scriptures say, in Proverbs 20, a man's goings are of the Lord Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? See, when you wake up in the morning, you already know what you're gonna do. Well, you don't know, but your spirit has been programmed with instructions on what you're gonna do. Okay, that's biblical. As a matter of fact, I'll get it. In Job 33:16, it says, he openeth the ears of men. Salakia, let me go up a verse. Job 33:15, it says, in a dream and in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instructions. Okay? You see? So that's what the Lord does, man. Okay, when you're asleep, the Lord just put whatever you gonna do, and you go out there and do it. The Lord, look, we're robots, man. Okay, all of these arguments about free will and blah 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 blah. You don't have free will. You have a distribution of autonomy. Okay, the Lord allows you to do certain things, and you're judged according to what you're allowed to do. But ultimately, you don't control what day you die, whether or not you were born or not. Okay, you don't control anything. Okay, what you control is what the Lord gave you to control. Okay, and your actions, you're judged based on that. Okay. But it says, then he openeth the ears of men, and he sealeth their instructions. So this is the Most High's realm, man. That's what the world is going to find out pretty soon. This is the Most High's world. Okay. You know, James Brown had a song, this is a man's world, but really this is the Most High's world. Okay. It says in the article, RT reports, Trump has repeatedly said that global tensions peaked when relations between Moscow and Washington hit their lowest point during former President Joe Biden's tenure. He has also accused his predecessor of provoking the Ukraine conflict by backing Kiev's NATO ambitions, despite Moscow's legitimate concerns. Okay. And so, yeah, it's going to go there, man. It's already written that it's going to go there. Okay. How do we know? Ezekiel. See, where is it? Salakia. Ezekiel 38. And 2, son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. Okay, that's Gog, is that land is where the Russians are, okay? Who are primarily Edomites, okay, by the way. It says the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, okay, and that word chief goes into Ra'ash, okay, which sounds very much like the word Russia, okay. Ra'ash goes into head or chief, okay. It says the chief priest of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, behold, I am against thee, O God, because the Lord is against them as well. Okay, so this is what you don't get. He's not just against America. The whole earth and the whole hegemony, all of these other nations that think they got next, he's against all of you, man. Okay? So it says, O Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. So this thing he solved it. There's no World War III yet. I've done diplomacy and you know, like Trump, his whole thing is he sets up deals. You know, you got the art of the deal. I'm gonna make a deal. Well, you can make as many deals as you want, but the prophecy is still going to come to pass. All right. It says, and I will turn thee, and I will put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now, the great company, what's the number one military in America besides America? What's the number one military in the world besides America? Okay, that would be the Russian army, okay? In terms of what they're capable of. Now, China has a lot more men, all right? And they're formidable too, okay? But, and they're going to be against you. They're going to all be in array against you. It says, verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, because Esau has gone through every one of these countries and overthrown them. The only one outstanding is Iran, which is Persia, okay? He's gone through Libya. He's gone through Somalia. He's gone through Sudan. He's gone through Afghanistan, Syria. Okay. He's been running through that whole thing through these small hats. Okay. That who's got the real agenda. Okay. And it says all of them with the shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters. Okay. And that goes into the region of Turkey, who also hates the small hats, man. Okay, who is part of NATO, but they're a wild card. They don't align. Okay, they have agreements with NATO, but y'all ain't really friends like that. Okay, it says, and many people with thee. Okay, so this guy doesn't have any say so. Okay, the president of the United States doesn't even run the United States. Okay. It says in the podcast with Mark Levin, in the article, it says in the podcast with radio host Mark Levin, published on Wednesday, Trump said that when he came into office earlier this year, Ukraine conflict was raging and heading to World War III. However, he argued that now you're not going to have that anymore. That's the nice part. You're not going to have to worry about that, Trump said. Well, I'm not sorry to report. I'm happy to report you're dead wrong on that. Okay, World War III it ain't up to you, man. Okay, you see Netanyahu over there licking his chops about the Greater Israel Project. Okay, I'll end it on this verse. Nahum chapter 4, verse 17. It says, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones." Okay. To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Okay, you see, the earth is the Lord's jurisdiction. Okay, all of these borders that you drew, all of these names you've given to various continents and mountains and rivers and things you've named and appointed to yourself. Okay, that the Lord don't acknowledge none of that, man. The Lord don't care if you call yourself Chinese. You a Moabite. Okay. And you're all gonna know that in the kingdom, and you're all gonna speak the one language. And if you don't, we hope you try it. Okay, try it. Try it in the kingdom and see what happens. You saw I got that song. Try that in a small town. His hatred for Jake. But we gonna have a song. Try that in the kingdom. Okay. It says, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. So the Lord decides who's going to be king, when they're going to be king, how long they're going to be king, okay, where they're going to be king. The Lord decides everything, man, okay? As I read earlier, a man's goings is of the Lord, okay? And you American people are about to find that out the hard way. All right. With that, on to the next. Shalom.